Hello. Welcome to my 31st October. I'm Lucky27, and this is a series of stories I have often told about my life. Today's story is entitled, Die with a Smile. First, I must apologize for my absence. I caught COVID for the first time and my voice took some time to recover. I also got very busy at work and have been much too tired to chat. So sorry. This month falls on the 18-year anniversary of my husband and I deciding to spend the rest of our lives witnessing each other's successes and failures while tethered together, and I thought I would talk about it. It was April of 18 years ago that I made the boldest statement to a man I fancied that I could ever have made. And that, in turn, led to 18 years ago this month being the end to my independence and the beginning of my freedom. So 18 years ago in April, I got an email out of the blue. It was from a young man that always made my little heart skip a beat. He was the only one I have ever wanted, and the one that I couldn't have. Or so I thought. I had years ago decided that I would be there for him, but with the understanding that I couldn't have him. The email was short and to the point. It said, "Hey, can I have your phone number? I need to talk to someone." I replied with just my phone number. This was before smartphones, so I hadn't expected him to call immediately, and call immediately he did not. But the next day, the call came. The next 6 hours were spent telling this man that he was doing the right thing by leaving his on-again, off-again girlfriend, fiancé. I did this with no small amount of personal glee, while also appalled by the details of said breakup. The boy I knew had turned into a man that I was surprised with. I knew he and his lady were a part of the party scene thanks to my best friend, but my impression of their relationship was a far cry from its reality. I'll take a step back here to explain. So, like I mentioned in a prior video about how I met my husband, I explained that I moved away from him when I was 17. Due to circumstances that I will someday do a video on, I was unable to have a senior year of high school. Technically, I ended up having to graduate a year early. Because of this, my mom tried to give me what little in the way of a senior year she could by sending me back to that state for senior prom, even though I had already graduated high school several months earlier. This started a ritual for me of going back every year and staying with a different friend each time. The next year I returned, the first Underworld movie was in theaters, and my ex-boyfriend took me to see it. After the movie ended, I asked him if we could go to Target to see if the soundtrack was out. He said he'd walk me there and buy it for me. He also told me that my now husband was working at Target and that he was on shift, so I could probably see him too. I secretly was thrilled, since I hadn't seen him since I moved away years prior. Sure enough, he was there. While my ex went inside to track down the soundtrack and do whatever he was doing, I stayed outside to catch up with my husband while he was getting carts. Like I mentioned in my other video, I was still under the impression that he didn't like me very much and was simply tolerating me out of politeness. But I still wanted him. So, I bravely asked him out. Just kidding. I had the worst self-esteem issues back then and would never have had the strength to put myself out there like that. Especially since I was about 85% sure he didn't like me. No, instead I asked him if he was dating anyone. And he told me no. My heart soared. But then it crashed and burned when he told me that he hadn't found anyone worth his time yet. To which my inner goddess self screamed that I was worth it. Try me! But I didn't say anything. I just thought that it wasn't meant to be. Fast forward about a year and a half later, and we start talking over social media, which was pretty new at the time. We talked for a few weeks, had a few nice conversations, and then he dropped off the map again. Between that time and my fourth trip back to that state, I was then informed he was in a relationship by my best friend, who is another man from the same friend circle. I met my ex through my friend, and I met my husband through my ex. But I didn't know that they knew each other. Furthermore, I had no idea that they were slight frenemies. Well, maybe more like rivals. They had the same friends, but they didn't get along. My best friend was also in love with me and had been since high school, a fact he made sure I was well aware of. But though I will always love him, I couldn't make myself fall in love with him. When I discovered that my friend knew my husband, I asked him how he was doing, since he, again, had dropped off the face of the earth as far as I knew. My friend proceeded to tell me half-truths and rumors to get me off the scent. He told me that he was a heavy party boy now, that he was always getting drunk and doing drugs. He also told me that he was in a relationship with a fellow party girl, and he had gotten her pregnant, so now they were talking about getting married. And I believed him. Why wouldn't I? So I gave up on the idea that I might ever catch his eye. Later that year was my 21st birthday, and I took my annual trip a few months after. It was during this trip that I stayed with my best friend. A day or two before I was going to go home, my best friend and another one of our friends, who had also wanted to date me since I was 15, told me about a party that was happening. Most of our friends would be there, and they wanted to see me. They told me that my ex would be there also, to which I made the mistake of saying out loud that since my ex would be there, maybe my husband would be there as well. Both of my friends then decided to skip the party and take me out to redo my 21st birthday, since mine had been soured by my family. I later found out that yes, my husband had been at that party, and both my friends knew it. But since both my friends were still trying to date me, and my husband's relationship was a bad one, they decided not to risk the two of us meeting up, since, apparently, it was known in our circle of friends that we wanted each other. We just hadn't said it. It was so well known, in fact, that it was the reason my husband stopped talking to me. His girlfriend, whom I never met, was so threatened by me that she wouldn't let him talk to me. So now, fast forward to that 6-hour-long conversation where I found out how much I had been lied to and how bad his relationship really was. Yes, he liked to drink, but he never did drugs. Yes, he was in the party scene, but mostly as a bouncer for friends' parties. Yes, he was dating a party girl, but he had never gotten her pregnant. Yes, they had talked about getting married, but he didn't want to marry her because she would cheat on him with anyone who would give her the time of day. They were consistently breaking up, then getting back together, as she would promise to stop the cheating and the partying. But then she'd be back at it. And that was why he called me. He had decided enough was enough and was going to leave her for good. He just wanted to hear someone tell him he was doing the correct thing. He felt bad for her grandmother because they were living with her at the time and he helped her out a lot. But he couldn't stay in a relationship for her grandma's sake. I agreed and asked him where he would go. Thankfully, he had already talked to his parents and he was moving back in with them the next day. 6 hours later, and I was 2 hours from needing to get up from work, but still on the phone. That was when I made my first ever move on someone.
This story will be continued in part 2.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the journey with me. I'm not sure how often I'll be posting something here, so leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and the bell, so you get updated when I do post. If you have questions or you want to know more about something I've said, please leave a comment and maybe I'll make a video explanation on the subject. But please be polite and courteous with the comments. My feelings don't get hurt, but the world has enough hate and judgment in it. It doesn't need yours on this video. If you think you know who I am, please don't leave a comment guessing my identity. Just send an email to the address in the description box. Thanks, and I'll see you when I see you.